Hello, how's everybody doing? Coach Pete here. I just want to say that that's a wrap for our Little League season. This is the first year that I coach Little League baseball. It was pretty fun. It was pretty draining. And 2 days ago we played the championship game, and it was a tough game. I mean, the game could have gone either way. It was the Downey Braves against the Downey Dodgers. The Dodgers were in the same place as we were at one point. They were in last place, and they came back to make it into the championship. They had to beat us in the final game of the season to get into the playoffs, and they actually spanked us like 15-5, and that put them ahead of the A's. So they got in as a fourth seed. As the fourth seed, the Cinderella team beat the first place team. They went on to the championship. We beat the second place team. No, we beat the third place team. We were the second place team, and we got into the championship, and we faced them off. We were sitting 5-4 in the last inning, and it came down to a triple, a 2 RBI triple to score the tying run and the go-ahead run with time expiring. So it ended up being a walk-off, because once you reach a certain limit, like 150, they don't allow no new inning. They normally say no new inning after 150, drop dead at 2. But for the championship game, they said there was no drop dead. So the only rule that applied there was the no new inning after 150. Anyways, we were sitting there. I was standing there coaching third base while we were at 5-4. I was just sitting there. I was not nervous. I was not worried. I was very confident that we were going to come through. But it didn't really matter, because from where we started, we were in last place. From where we started to where we were, a 5-4 loss to the Dodgers. Obviously you always want to win, but I was just sitting there thinking, like, man, where we've been to where we're at, 5-4 in the championship game in the last inning, either way it ends, I said, I'm not even going to be worried about it. I said, because this has been a great season. Luckily we came through and we got the victory. I believe the Dodgers should feel the same way, because in the game you do want to win, but coming from last place to being in that position to where you have a chance to win the game, and it just comes down to that final out. I think you did a hell of a great job, and that's where I was. That's why I wasn't really nervous or upset, or I didn't lose my voice. On the contrary, I noticed a lot of the parents, when I talked to them after the game, their voice was like this because they couldn't even talk. Only reason I was being so loud was because the kids couldn't hear my instructions, because everybody was so loud. Yeah, there was a lot of people. I know there's some major league teams that are struggling for fan participation and going to the ball games. Yesterday, that day, we had so many people. It felt like a minor league game. It really was. I know I've been to travel ball tournaments and stuff, and you see a lot of people, but this Little League championship game, there was a lot of people there. There was a lot of people there on our side. There was a lot of people on the other team side. There was a whole bunch of people in the outfield side. I have no idea who they were cheering for in the outfield side, but they were there watching the game. And, what's next for us? What is next for the Socal travel ball band and brand? Well, the Little League season the Little League regular season is over, but for us, since we win the championship, we go on to the Tournament of Champions. And that just means that we have to keep playing. We start playing on June 4th in the Tournament of Champions. I don't have the details. I really wish I had access to all the videos. I didn't get a chance to record because I was coaching and I didn't have my cameras ready. But think things are going to be a little quiet for the next 2 days, but I think come Monday, everybody needs to get ready because this is where the real training starts and the preparation. So, yeah, we're going to train like animals. We're going to work hard. It's going to go to beast mode. June 4th, about 14 or 15 days away from that. There's no reason why we shouldn't be practicing at least 6 to 7 times from here to then, just to get it all together, put us in our best position to compete. For the Socal Travel Ball brand, what I want to do is I want to run a summer academy, a baseball clinic, one where we work on fundamentals. It's all about fundamentals in the game. You show me a team that has good fundamentals, and I will show you a good coach. That's how I judge a coach. If a team has great fundamentals, I think they're doing a pretty good job with that coaching staff. I think that's the only way to look at it. Because a lot of times you have teams that they're travel ball coaches, but what they do is they go around to little leagues and they find the best players and they say, you come with me, you come. So sometimes the kids already arrive there. They already have been taught. They already have the training. So somebody else developed them. And then here comes along somebody who does a great job at recruiting, because recruiting is a skill as well. And they go and they pick some of the best players, but that doesn't mean that they develop them. What I like to do, I like to develop, and I think that's what I'm doing over here at the Little League. I think this is where it starts. There's a lot of travel ball players that are great players, but I would say 9 times out of 10, they began at a Little League. It all started at a Little League. Or a rec ball, if they didn't have, or pony. But it all starts somewhere, They develop, they get better, and then they get picked up, they get recruited. That's just the way it goes. The program, basically, the philosophy is to get players better. It's a development program, not a travel ball program, even though it's so-called travel ball. It's a development program. Basically, there's entry-level players. That's where you're starting in the beginning. From there, you move on to intermediate. From intermediate, you move on to advanced. And after advanced, obviously, it's an elite player. You could be an advanced player and not necessarily be elite, but if you're advanced, you have a better chance at competing and surviving in an elite competition versus a player who's a beginner. So it's important to identify where you're at in that stage. Even as a parent, you can tell where your player is. Your player's pretty good, your child's pretty good. You can put them into either intermediate or advanced. You know what I'm saying? The mistake that some parents make, I think, is that they want to go from beginner and then put them into elite competition, into these travel ball programs, and then they want to get upset when their child's not playing or getting the playing, etc. You got to work one step at a time, and that's what I want to do. I want to have that program. I also have a USA Baseball certification as a coach, and one of the things that I got out of the trainings out of there is that for these ages, actually for most kids, all ages, you should have a greater emphasis on developing, on training, on practicing, and less of an emphasis on competitions. I'm not saying don't compete. Obviously, you need to compete to get your experience and to, exercise what you've learned. But the formula is like 30-70 and then 40-60. And then when it's at the elite level, it becomes like 50-50. So even though you're an elite player, you still need to be practicing like half the time. You should spend 50% of your baseball experience should be training, the other half is competing, you know, but that's at an elite level. If you're not an elite player, you should be emphasizing more 70% practicing and 30% competing. That's just the way it is. You're not going to be able to compete successfully if you're being thrown in just like that and you don't have the practice behind you, the fundamentals. You got to get the fundamentals down. It's just part of your development. You'll save yourself you'll save yourself a lot of frustration for the parent and for the players, because you have to practice. You know, you have to practice. I mean, there's no way around it. It doesn't matter what sport it is. You know, you have to jump in and with practice underneath your belt if you want to compete effectively. So I'm a big believer in that, and that's kind of what I want to develop, a program like that that emphasizes the academy aspect, where we're teaching, we're learning. We'll compete for fun, but that's just to, you know, get our 30% of competition in. But I definitely think that for kids that are starting out, they're in the beginning, intermediate stage, or the stage of, I would say beginners and intermediate. There should be a greater emphasis on training versus competing. Let me know what you guys think about that. This is just the way I think. I mean, this is the way the USA baseball program teaches. And I did the trainings and I loved it. I believe that's the way to go. That's already the way I felt. They just sort of solidified that thinking. I also know about the program, the train more, play less. I think they're out of Anaheim. That they teach that philosophy as well, and I'm a big believer in that. I do think that kids need to work, put in the work, get the reps in, then start competing. Today I'm over here at with Nemesis Elite. My daughter's on the Nemesis squad, so they're out there in the background and get another chance to be at the park. But I that's just some thoughts that I was thinking about and just planning my move. What's the next move for Socal Travel Ball?